Good morning from San Diego. I want to talk to you today about 3 words that are thrown around in spirituality a lot. You know, those words are words that I don't think people really understand. And the word is empowerment, enlightenment, and awakened. You know, yesterday I told you a little story about when I did the right thing, and I'm sure I did the right thing, but it still had a ripple effect in my life that, I still hold on to today. And is that part of my enlightenment? Is it part of my awakening? Is it part of my empowerment? Well, you betcha it is. It's always a part of us being empowered when we're able to address the things in our lives that we want to take responsibility for and understand what they mean to us. Because if we are not in connection with anything that's our shadow side, with anything that's our ego, and ego doesn't mean ego like, look at me, I'm Sandra D. Ego is based out of fear. That's why people do look at me, I'm Sandra D. It's a fear-based energy. And if you live in fear, you can't live in enlightenment. If you live in fear, you can't live in empowerment. So you can't be afraid of your shadow side. You can't be afraid to be vulnerable in front of people. There is power in vulnerability. And you can't be afraid to be real and to be a human being, because we are on the planet to be human beings. And so we have to look at not only Jesus' godliness when we're using Jesus as an example of someone who's empowered and enlightened, but we also have to look at his manliness and some of the things that he might have done that we recognize as a human being, maybe having a temper tantrum in the temple, or getting angry with his disciples for falling asleep when he went to meditate. I could give you 1,000 examples. It matters not. He's just an example that's held in high esteem for people understanding enlightenment. And a lot of times in spirituality, we forget about our avatars. We're talking about connecting with our higher power all the time. We use the word the universe, and the universe is simply God's energy. You know, God's energy is the universe is God's energy. You know, when I was a kid, I used to think that God was like Santa Claus, but he, sat up in the clouds with a long white beard, and he rendered judgment on who was bad and who was good. As I began to become more enlightened and used meditation and evaluated who I was both as a human being and as a spiritual being, I started to recognize that God is actually an energy field, and that energy field is a reflective energy field, because the greatest gift that we have is free will, and the energy reflects back to us what we put out to it in our karmic profile. So understanding enlightenment means that you can't, skip steps, and you can't just go from A to Z, and you can't just, learn to do psychic work, which I don't know if anybody can really learn to do it, or whether it's just already something that's part of an energy that you have come onto the planet with and you enhance it. And that at a soul level, at a vibratory level, we all have the ability to be intuitive, and we can develop that more, we can develop that less. But that isn't the real level of empowerment. Because you do psychic work or you're a medium doesn't mean you're empowered or enlightened. It means that you're using that part of your brain that we can all use. To be empowered and enlightenment means to live in integrity, and to be vulnerable enough to share yourself with others and give others the kinds of connections that they deserve. Human connections, heart to heart, soul to soul. That's what it's all about. So think about it. Are you really empowered or enlightened? Because if you are, that means you have to embrace who you are in your ego, your fear, your shadow, your foils and foibles, and not be afraid for you to share that even with you. And you have to love yourself despite that. It's a real tangible thing when you learn to love yourself, so that you have no agenda what other people think other than what you think. So those are the levels, the steps towards enlightenment and empowerment. It has nothing to do with psychic. It has everything to do with honoring yourself in whatever religion that you abide by, whether it be in Christianity. I happen to, use Christ consciousness as my way of keeping myself straight, but it doesn't take away or detract from anybody that's Hindu or Buddhist or Muslim or anything else, because religion is only a tool to evaluate and value who you are, so that you can get to your higher power in a way that you can make that connection with the universe and with God, so that you can behave like an enlightened being. I hope you have a really wonderful weekend. We are doing a Life After Life demonstration and a few clients and seeing some friends. So have a great one. Bye now.